Hello world! Hello everybody! Welcome back to the white world of I Am a Singer Eternal Voice. This is again your I Am a Singer Eternal Voice. I'll be able to do another live stream this moment in time. So it's gonna be not lengthy, it's gonna be short period of time. I hope I could make it. Okay. So this is all about talking of the most important scope of work in different industries, right? Okay, so this is the most, shall I say, one of the most critical operations or highly hazardous operations. Okay, this is specifically hard work activities, and this is hard work system and procedure. Okay, before going further, I have a good news. Thank you so much, Lord God, Father, that I am now 66 kilograms. Wow. My gosh, from 68, and then it reduces to 66 kilograms already. Okay. And I've been maintaining my exercises, okay, on 5 times a week. Oh my gosh. And then my happy day will be on Friday and Saturday. And that's the time I'll be able to do a lot of vlogging, a lot of live streamings, and then do some personal stuff like that. But from Sunday to Thursday, it's my struggles. Or not really struggles. I love to do it only exercises, okay? For the healthy lifestyle and to improve my immune system, something like this, okay? And thanks to God, I'm already 66 kilograms now, okay? Voila! Hurrah! Bravo! My gosh. Okay, how to work system and procedure. First, we need to investigate what is a system and what is a procedure. It's English, right? So there's a little bit of difference when we talk about system and we talk about the procedure. Okay, system is a method. Okay, it's a technique. Okay, and its procedure is a step by step. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It will be outlined in a sequential and stepwise manner. So that is procedure. Meaning you don't have to jump from one procedure to number five. So that is sequential. Okay? Meaning arrange properly from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you don't have the step one, you cannot proceed to step four because that is really the first step. So there's a prerequisites before step five. You should go to step two, step three, step four. Okay, that's why in safety, a shortcut method in doing the procedure can cause accidents and incidents. It's really improper, not safe to do the shortcut method because it deviates the design of particular equipment. If you're using the equipment, right, the equipment also have its own procedure. Okay, the operation. Then if you deviate that one, then from its design intent and specifications, then problem, it can cause also the malfunctioning of the equipment, okay, malfunctioning of the facilities, blah, 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 so on. So it can cause accident or damage to the particular equipment and facilities, okay? So that is procedure. But in context of scope of works, that's not an equipment, right? So there's also procedure so that the organization will not be mislead, confuse what to do, and it can cause delay also what to do first, what to do second, what to do third, and then problem. It can cause also potential incidents and accidents. That's why it should must be done in a systematized manner, okay, in organized manner. So that means a procedure. Okay, a system is a technique that has been done regularly. Okay, not necessarily arranged, but it must be done regularly, frequently, periodically. So that's already the system. So more or less, it should be general. Okay, but the procedure is more on the specific. Okay, like this. This is my system. This is the way I do my vlogging. Okay, so like that. Then the procedure will be step one, step two, step three, step four. Okay, but this is the system that I do. Okay, like or my method or the way I do it. Okay, like that. Okay, method and procedure is also related, but method is more on general as more general. Okay, like that. The procedure really is specified sequential steps. Okay, very clear for the a little bit of difference between a system and a procedure. Okay, that's why we are dealing now for our subject, our title, this moment in time. How to work system and procedure. Okay, now if you talk about this topic, then we must consider the three parameters or the three important general safety requirements before hot work job execution and commencement in different workplaces, regardless of whatever industries, because this is generic to all over the world, globally, okay, hot work activities, okay? Whatever countries you're working, so this general concept will be the same. It matters only to the way how you carry their job, because the technology is different from the company, or their tools is not the same with other companies like this, or their resources are not totally the same with other company, but totally the same. The general concept, okay, generic, something like that, okay, typical to all in the global market, something like that. Okay, this is highly critical, as I said earlier, highly hazardous. Okay, so hot work. So let's investigate first. Hot. What do you mean by hot? Okay, if hot meaning there's a high temperature, normally that is under the process of exothermic reaction. So there's heat, HEAT, and when there is HEAT, and then of course the temperature are higher. Okay, temperature extremes. Okay, and the heat will be released normally, right? That's hot. Okay, and what is work? If you remember in your physics, what is work? I only tried to investigate the terms so that all of us can understand properly before going to the main topic. What is work? Okay. You remember in our physics, because energy is the capacity to do work, right? Then what is work? Okay. Work technically is equal to force times distance. Okay. Formula. Okay. If there is force and there is distance and there is work. Okay. If there's no distance covered, then that is not work. Okay. The distance mean it could be vertical, it could be horizontal. Okay. For example, if I lift this mouse up, there's a distance, the height covered, and applied force on my hand. So there's work being done. Okay, like that. So that is work is equals to force and distance. If I push my table like this, okay, there's an horizontal distance covered and applied force also. So that is work. Okay, since hard work activities are the people doing that kind of job are applying force, of course. If there's no force, how can they do the welding? How can they do the cutting? Okay, like that. So that is mainly work. So hard work, combine that to become hard work, something like that. We need to investigate one by one so that the audience can really understand what does it mean. So hard work, system, procedures. It's very clear now the four terminologies before we go further. Anybody, any question like that? Okay, so that is hard work system and procedure. Now, we will consider the three parameters and the three general requirements. What are those? Okay, so basically in OSH really, okay, so the main causes of accidents and incidents would mean in the underlying causes or in the root cause analysis, because it is in the below the surface. Okay, because direct causes is in the upper surface, so that's only a shallow reason and a shallow reasons and very superficial reasons only, like that. But the root causes is the most important one. So we need to troubleshoot that one, or we need to correct or to rectify or to fix that one before anything else. So most of the root causes begins in the procedure and the system, the policy, the manual, the procedures. It's not the way how they carry the task. It's only secondary. Okay? That's why it's an obligation of an employer before the company will operate the business. Every job must have job hazards analysis and risk assessments. That's a requirement. Since OSHA also did not require additional job to those industries, okay, that's only a guidance to them if they follow or not. They cannot sanction Middle East, they cannot sanction Europe, okay, because that is not part of their territory. But they can sanction USA states, okay, okay, United States of America, for example, Texas, like this, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, they can sanction for those companies within their territory. So they will be penalizing that one. For example, if they will not follow the OSHA standard 29 CFR 1910.135 regarding wearing of helmet, they cannot sanction those companies. But in Middle East, in Europe, they cannot because the OSHA specifies there. This only serve as a guidance to in the global market because we are not in their territory. But Middle East is adopting the OSHA standards. Okay? Do you mean what my point really is? Like that. Okay? So that's why, oh, I like this. You don't follow the OSHA standards. There's nothing. Because we are, the employers are not obliged to really to follow that one because there's no sanction and penalty to that. Okay, because we are not covered by OSHA, because we are not under United States of America. But we are applying generally their procedures and their standards because that is a global procedures all over the world. Okay, like that. That is a backbone. If we have the own local safety rules and regulations or requirements in this country, that laws and regulations in this country specifically, then it also patterned to the OSHA standards mainly. Meaning the parent safety legislations and standards are coming from OSHA, something like that. Okay? Because they are developing standards. Okay? They are developing standards, okay, or establishing standards, okay, to make the services, systems, products, okay, in an efficient manner, in a successful manner, in a safe manner, something like that. Okay, so that's why we have standards to follow. Okay, again, but it doesn't add obligation to different employers all over the world. Okay, because we are not covered by their territory, but we are applying their standards also. Okay, the only difference is that we cannot penalize, we cannot sanction, because in America, if they don't follow the certain standards, they can close the company immediately. Okay, and they will fire those people immediately. Okay, very strict, and they can penalize how many dollars for that employer to be paid if they will not follow these standards. But in Middle East, Europe, they cannot do that because Europe has its own and Middle East has its own local also. But generally, they are following the OSHA standards, parent or the backbone of safety standards. Okay, it's very clear. Okay, that's why we can found so many industries are not meeting the OSHA standards requirements. That's the reason behind because it's not an obligation. Okay, it's only served as a guidance. Okay, to be followed so that the people will be organized and in systematized manner and they can work safely and properly to have an injury-free environment, okay, and a safe work environment, something like this. Okay, so that's very clear. Oh my gosh. Okay, going to the hot work system so that we can really understand what's going on. It's not enough to I am a safety professional, I am a safety officer, but you don't know your direction, what really is. So right? So you should know really the relevance of your existence as a safety professional. It's not like you are only acting as a decoration, okay, in the organization or whatever. You should exert your safety knowledge. You should impart your safety knowledge and put into actions, okay, because that's very important. Okay, we should put into actions what we learned in our international safety trainings. Okay, but if they don't follow, that's not our problem anymore. Okay, as long as we did our best to make it effective in exerting our safety functions, rules, and responsibilities in that particular organization. Okay, so we cannot be blamed after all because we're following the legal requirements. Okay. As you can remember in safety, OSH, we have three legal requirements. Legal requirements, economic requirements, and social requirements. Okay, three legal objectives. Okay, and if you will not follow that one, your safety department or the safety objectives will not be met, will not be achieved. Okay, so you have a very poor performance in safety or poor records of safety program like that or poor records of your safety performance, something like that. Okay, it's very clear. So you have the objectives, you have the goal, and goal and objectives really must be specific and attainable or achievable. Okay, you know, achievable and attainable meaning measurable. Okay, it's not general. You should really conduct measuring performance to calibrate if you can really obtain your objectives well, because it really reflects on the actual scenario. Okay, for example, if so many accidents happening in that organization, then your objectives has not been met. So basically, you did not calibrate or you did not have any measuring or performances in your safety department, something like that. So you should know how to calibrate and gauge your safety performance in your company. If you're listening right now to me, like that, okay? And you should be clever enough to determine what are those safety parameters, okay, or safety index, okay. Allow you have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and you'll be able to conduct a trending analysis. You have to troubleshoot with a graphical representation like that of your records, incident records, accident records, everything. You have to, just like in reporting of WHO and CDC, you have to graphical representation of what's going on in your safety performance. Okay, like that. So you have a goal. It's not easy to work without a goal, right? Without the objective. So you're just floating in the air, something like that. For example, so me, I'm working here. So I'm a goal. Okay, specific goal or specific objective. Just like that also in OSH. Okay, like that. Going back to have to work system and procedure, we need to consider the three. The first one, the employer are obliged or mandatory to create a risk assessment, had to work risk assessment. It's being specified there in the OSHA standard, okay? That every employer should have a written risk assessment to protect the employees by any hazards, risks in that particular workplaces to avoid and to prevent work-related injuries and any work-related or occupational ill health diseases, sicknesses, or anything, something like this. So that's the number one. Okay, there in the OSHA standard. I think that is OSHA's Act of 1970 and 2004. I'm not really sure. I forgot also. Oh my gosh. But it is also in the ILO, International Labor Organization. I forgot the number. Okay, they control that also. International Labor Organization. They work together with OSHA also regarding that legal objectives and legal goal for every employers all over the world. Employers, not employees. Employers, meaning the companies. Okay, like that. Okay, that's the flaw of OSH. Why we exist. Okay, like and why they hired us, something like that. Okay, going back, hot work. Okay, hot work. Define hot work. Anybody? Hello, class. Can you define what is hot work? And the reverse will be cold work, right? Okay, in Saudi Aramco, they have a different definition of hot work, but in other sources of reference book, mainly the same, but Aramco has its own specific definition. In Saudi Aramco, their definition of hot work is any activities that involve sufficient energy that releases, okay, sparks, slugs, spatters, open flames, like that, and other ignition sources. Okay, like that. But in a general definition only, hard work activities is a kind of activities that will produce sparks, open flame, molten metals, heat ignition sources, like that. Basically the same, right? Only the difference is only involves sufficient energy. Okay. Basically the same, but only that one is the addition to. Maybe it is more defined for the Saudi Aramco, right? It's correct, right? Because how can we perform our job if there's no energy? Okay, like that. So every one of us has its own energy to do the work, because energy is the capacity to do work. It's the definition in physics, right? Energy is the capacity to do work. That's why the unit of energy will be the same also with work, if you can remember. Joules. Okay, investigate. Work is equals to force to distance. Then Newton meter. Newton meter is equals to joules. Okay, so joules really. Okay, just like energy. So joules can be converted to calorie. Okay, kilocalorie or British thermal unit. So that's also the unit of energy. Okay, heat energy like that. Okay, so the same unit. I think so. Investigate first. Maybe I am wrong. Okay, like that. So energy, so there are a lot of energies, right? Electrical energy, mechanical energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, thermal energy, like that. A lot of energies. We use that in our daily lives because without those energies, we will not survive in this world. Okay? We need light, so there's electrical energy. Okay, like that. We need food, so there's chemical energy through photosynthesis reaction. Remember that one? Plants photosynthesis reaction. Okay, the light of the sun will produce carbon dioxide plus water through the reaction of the green pigment of the plants called chlorophyll. Okay, so plus oxygen, chlorophyll plus oxygen is also carbon dioxide plus water. Okay, that's chemical energy, basically, from the radiant heat of the sun, natural process. Okay, photosynthesis. Okay, so that's we need chemical energy, we need electrical energy, we need also mechanical energy because our cars will not move to go on that certain particular workplaces in order to do our job, to have our business operations. There are a lot of mechanical energy. How can the work equipment will run or process equipment will run if there's no mechanical energy involved? Okay, so we need also mechanical energy. Okay, like that. Okay, me, I'm sitting here. I have the potential energy also. Okay, if I move, I have the kinetic energy. Okay, so I have we have also the thermal energy in the natural process of our body. We releases heat, we absorb heat, like that. Our planet Earth will release heat, will also absorb heat. So it's a cycle also. Okay, so that we have a regulation and cycle of our weather also. Okay, changing the temperature. Okay, so heat energy is very important also, right? So there's a lot of energy. I think the definition of Saudi Aramco regarding hot work is the most appropriate one, right? Involves sufficient energies to produce or to release open flames, sparks, spatters, slugs, molten metal, heat, and ignition sources. That's the definition. Okay, okay, we have a very specified definition in Saudi Aramco. Okay, like for hot work. And then the reverse will be cold work. Of course, it's the reverse only. You have to put a little bit something. Okay. Um, it is a type of work that does not involve sufficient energy to produce blah blah blah. It's just the same, only English matters. Okay, don't find difficulty. It's the reverse. Just play around how to use the grammar. Okay, in the utilization of your sentence. If that is the hot work and that's the reverse, then play the grammar in it, and you can, even though you will not memorize the definition of cold work, you can answer. Okay? Because usually in examination of Bush, Ocean's lead auditor, in push examination, sometimes there's a define what is a cold word, define what is hot work, give an example what is an hot work, give example what is cold work, like that, explain the hazards and the rest of those activities like that. Then if you didn't memorize that one, then you have also the definition of that one, and then the reverse will be the exact one. Okay, like the sometimes think quickly, especially if you have no enough preparation. You cannot memorize everything also. Okay, like that. Just like me before, I was in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. I was struggling in the bush. Okay, what happened? I am very, very busy. My job have Friday work and then 12 hours because it was a Korean company and we're the main contractor and we're handling 18, 20 subcontractors and I am in the training department and documentation department. Okay. And the Korean wants me to do something, blah, 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 so and so extend your time, blah, blah. I could not manage to study really, okay? Because even though Fridays have work, 12 hours, 13 hours, because it trusts me too much. Okay, and I love also to earn money that match. Okay, as an OFW. Okay, I enrolled in the bush. Imagine, I did not go face to face. Really. But thanks to the Lord, I passed. Why I passed? Even though I did not go to the training. Okay? The training is face-to-face training. Okay, for example, the payment is 4,500 dirhams. Okay, like that. I pay the money. I get only the handbooks on the notes. I studied that notes. I did not go to the face-to-face training, and then I passed. Okay, because I study efficiently, okay, like that. Even though I am very tired, I still study like this. And thanks to God, also I can relate also some of the topics, okay. Being a chemical engineer, I can relate also other topics there, especially in the Nibu, so many chemical hazardous topics, and then it add also points for me also. Okay, like that. And some of the topics also are already related to the OSHA's 18001 2007 lead auditor examination. So it's no longer difficult for me also. I just recall it and then I just put blah blah blah, explain very well, and then I passed. Okay. My gosh, it's so funny really because I did not expect to pass that one. Okay. So out of 14, only four passed, and I'm one of those. Okay. Because that time is very difficult really. Okay. During the first what do you call it one? Release of the Bush exam, something like that. Okay. That was 2012. Okay, so if you really study a lot, even though nobody teaches you, you can obtain your answers well. Okay, just like that. Okay, so that's really, I'm only telling you my story. Story talaga. Okay, like that. So basically, it's going to be like that. So you just play around with your answers, especially hard work will come out really. Okay, and then you will try to sketch blah blah blah, outline blah blah blah, like blah 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 blah. Because the examinations in the bush are like that: outline, explain, define, enumerate, sketch, like that. You should draw something like that. Okay, you draw something. Okay, yesterday, I discussed the NFPA 704. It came out in the Nibush examination. That's why really I mastered that one. You know, the flammability hazards, the specific hazards, the reactivity, the toxicity. It really come out. Okay, like that. So that's why it's also what do you call this one? Lucky, Lucky. Lucky because I've studied also mostly come out in the examination, something like that. In fact, I didn't study the bottom part. Okay, the bottom part of the book. Okay, the international workplace controls, like that. The IGC 2. Okay, that's controls, international workplace controls. So difficult, really. So many activities, and you need to identify the hazards, the risks, and then you have to formulate your, oh my gosh, how many costs involved. Oh my gosh. Okay, going back to hardware system, and we don't need to state everything. Okay, oh my gosh. Okay, we need to understand the hardware risk assessment, the hardware permit, and the hardware procedure. Okay, three only. Okay, if you understand this, then bingo. Okay, like that. So what is a hardware risk assessment? Anybody? The self-explanatory. The word is risk, and you have to assess the risk. Okay, sometimes also, if there is a subject, then you could define it through its terms, and then you can make your own also, even though you will not study. Okay, you will memorize, right? You will memorize, but sometimes you cannot memorize everything, and then you have the term. Then you can have common sense. Then you can just make your own definition based on what you understand, right? Like this risk assessment, of course, to assess the rest because the rest is present in the term. Okay, self-explanatory, right? But if you talk about technicalities, then that's another story anymore. Okay, like that. So risk assessment is a qualitative risk assessment. Okay, qualitative only, ha. So it's involve risk ranking. Okay, like that to identify the low risk, the high risk, the medium risk. And before going that further, we must understand also the consequence versus the likelihood and the probability of the hazards to cause harm. Actually, this is very, we need to discuss this by graph. But I cannot do that because I have only less time. I'm going to sleep now. Oh my gosh. We need to do a graph, a vertical x and y axis, just like algebra, right? X and y axis. And your y axis will be the probability of the hazards to cause harm. So, probability has so many synonyms also. So don't be afraid because others textbooks are using also the likelihood, the probability, okay, how often it happens, something like that. The possibility, the chance, how frequent. So it will matters on the words. But others also they will be confused because sometimes how frequent the hazards will come like that. That is the same as likelihood. Okay, it is the same also with the probability. How probable the hazards will occur, how likely the hazards will occur. It could be most likely, more likely, unlikely. Only terms English. So that's why I told you a long, long time ago, if you have a strong background in English communication, more or less you will pass any kind of examination because the examination are written in international language, which is English. Okay? And there are also words there that you cannot understand. If you understand the terms clearly, then you can answer properly the questions. That's why there's an advantage if you are good in English and then at the same time you are good in mathematics and you are good also in science. Okay? Like that. Because sometimes in problem solving, they will use another term. And then the students will be confused because they are not used to that terms. Okay, for example, very basic example in chemical engineering, solubility. Solubility has the same unit with morality, like this. All are concentration. But then if we insert the word solubility already, the students most likely they will confuse. It's also concentration, but they are used in their examples as the molarity of this one, then the unit. Because in their discussion always, they use morality, and then the examination during the board exam, they use solubility, and then they confuse already. They will not use the formula of morality, molarity, because there is a solubility term there, and they use the other formula related to solubility, for example, Henry's law. Okay, and it would not be applicable to the very basic formula. So it will now confuse. Even though the problem is very easy, it will now become difficult because of your own thinking only. Okay, sometimes the problem solving is not really that difficult, only your thinking made it difficult. Okay? Because you feel it is difficult, but actually it's not difficult. Okay? Like that. Okay? It's impossible for them to give all difficult problem solving because nobody will pass. Just think of that. It should be balanced. There's easy, there's difficult. What problems, what are the problems are, because even though that is easy, they felt or they think psychologically that those questions are difficult. Okay? So that's why most are failing, something like that. Okay? Especially the chemical engineering board examination. Okay? Like that. In our time, we are 13 and only 4 passed in CIT university, and luckily I'm one of those. Okay, because of effort, adequate preparation, something like that. Okay, it doesn't matter how good you are in mathematics, as long as you are having an adequate preparation. Okay, and the brain retention also is very important. No, memory retention. Okay, memory retention is very important also. Okay, going back to how to work risk assessment. What is the first step for risk assessment? Anybody? Oh my gosh, time check is brought to you by Rejoice Shampoo. Oh my gosh, may ganon. Okay. Okay, the first we need to find out who can be harmed. Okay? Meaning say, we are finding out who are those specific people that can be harmed because of that step one. Okay? If you get a hazard of that step one, what are those people to be harmed? Okay. Step two, how can they be harmed? Okay? Meaning to say, if you are now getting the people who are to be harmed, then how can they be harmed? So it relates to how they perform their task safely and properly. So actions are involved now in how they can be harmed. So the word how usually specifies an action verb, how you carry the task. Okay, like that. Actions. Okay, like that. how they can be harmed. That's number two. Okay. Number three, you need to identify the potential hazards. Okay, like that. It's correct or not? Anybody, it's correct? Actually, I didn't prepare. That's why. What comes on my brain only I vlog. Okay, let's do this again. Risk assessment. First step. What is the first step again? I told you we need to identify who can be harmed. Number two, how can they be harmed? Okay. Number three, identifying the potential hazards. I think it's wrong. See, this is the power of on the spot live streaming and discussion. Okay. So see, my brain think easily. See, how can you think that somebody will be harmed if you don't know the hazards first? Okay, so the number one, sorry, is identify the potential hazards and risks. Oh my God! Thanks God, I have too much. What one? Dopamine in my brain because a hormone that will easily think if you are really wrong or not. So you need that kind of hormone. Something ganon. May ganon talaga. Okay, dopamine hormone, endorphin hormone, like that, serotonin hormone. Okay, a lot of hormones, right? Cortisol, epinephrine, adrenaline, something like that. Okay, a lot of hormones. Okay, thiamine, charot, melatonin, hormone mo melatonin, melatonin. Oh my gosh, a lot of hormones. Thanks God na that I think quickly. Number one is to identify the potential hazards and its associated risks. Okay. Number two, find out who can be harmed and how can be harmed. Okay. Number four, you need to evaluate the risks. Number four. So after evaluating the risks, or analyzing the risks properly, then you can have now your control actions or your control measures. Okay, like that. So during the evaluating of the risks, that's the time you need also to think what are those existing controls already in your company. Okay, engineering controls. For example, if you have already those controls, then you only add what are missing controls needed to eliminate or to reduce your the potential hazards, existing hazards exist because there are also existing controls already that are there, but you need to add more. Okay, like that. Okay, that's the time you will evaluate. Okay, maybe the controls are not really that effective, then we need to add. Okay, maybe we need to replace those controls because that's controls are already obsolete, something like that. Okay, so it depends how to evaluate those risk controls after step four, right? If there's nothing there, then you have to have that establish your controls. You talk to the management that it's gonna be like this. We need to acquire this, and you need to write your proposal request for those controls. You write a letter, a strong letter to the management that we need these controls so that we can eliminate. Number five, you have to record your risk assessment findings. Records, because you have now already everything, right? Number five, you need to review if you from step one to four are already enough or adequate. Then review it. Maybe something is missing, like that, and you have to develop it good, more good and effective. Review periodically, and then after you review, you can modify it or not. Okay, or you can upgrade that one like that. Okay, so periodically review that every 6 months because we don't know the process will have a modification. There will be an introduction to the new equipment or technology in the certain work environment. So it would also matters the hazards and risks involved. If there are new equipment, both like that, if there are new technologies coming. So your risk assessment will also be dependent to that. Okay, to the equipment, to the tools, to the work environment, and especially how they carry their tasks. That's why we need to issue the management of change, okay, or change or management of change, MOC. we need to review that one. That's part of, engineering control, something like that. Okay. And then the last will be reviewed, update, and then go back to step one again, blah, 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 so on. So, and then you can come up your final risk assessment. So it is understood that you know already the graph I told you a while ago, right? The probability of the hazards to cause harm on the vertical, and the impact and the consequence, like that. So, for example, actually, i-draw mo yun siya in fairness. So that everybody will understand. Okay? Because I don't have scratch anymore. Tomorrow I'll bring scratch papers. Okay? Already I used up. See? Already are used because of my vloggings. Okay, see? Back to back are being used. How can I write in the piece of paper? I don't have scratch papers anymore. Or just listen. In the x-axis, which is the impact, okay, there is a numbering. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. In the vertical axis, just imagine, try to imagine only that you have the paper like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's more really good if you draw. You can understand properly. Okay? Like that. So, 1. So it could be, the impact of the consequence, it could only be minor. Okay? Like that. Or negligible first. Okay? Negligible or irrelevant, meaning no impact at all. Okay? Then, 1, 2, minor. Okay. 3, major. 4, serious or critical. 5, catastrophic or deadly. Oh, that is your impact. You really arrange according to the degree how dangerous are the impact or the results or the consequence really are. If that accident and incident are happened, if you will never control the risks involved, that particular scope of work, and if you really not assess and interrupting or let's say rectifying those hazards be solved, okay, in your particular had to work scope of work, something like that. In the vertical axis also, first you have unlikely, meaning it will really it will not really happen. Okay. Number 2, likely, like this, most likely. Okay. And then going up also continuously, something like that, meaning it happens several times. Okay. So how often it happens, how frequent it happens, the probability it happens, meaning it's more on exposure to the personnel, to the hazards. Okay, how often they are exposed to the different hazards. So there's a lot of hazards, right? As I discussed last week, chemical hazards, ergonomic hazards, physical hazards, electrical hazards, mechanical hazards, environmental hazards, blah blah blah, so and so. Atmospheric hazards, chemical hazards, okay? So basing on that, how frequent the individual worker will be exposed to that type of hazards, basing on this vertical axis, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Like that. And then if you see, for example, I carry I carry this table, okay? So how often I will be injured for this? So only, I will say only minimum, okay? Because this is very light. Okay, I will put 1, okay, minimum only, okay? Then in the how often I will get injured, I will put maybe likely only, okay, likely maybe in the 2, 1 is most unlikely, like this. Okay, 1. So your risk will be the probability of the hazards to cause harm times the impact or the consequence. So it will be R is equals to 1 times 1. So my risk is equals to 2, like that. So in that result, you can have the risk ranking. Okay, in step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Okay, like that. Okay, that's an example. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, like that. Okay, you can now have the risk number. Now, there's a value for that also. For example, from 0 to 6, okay, low. Okay, from 7 to 10, medium. From 8 to 20, high. Okay, like that. So you will see that result there, and you can say, medium rest only, low rest only, high risk. Because in that way, you can adjust your control measures. If it is that really low risk, then no need to buy certain equipment for that low risk. Maybe it can be solved only through administrative control, okay, through signages, okay. There's a lot of hierarchy of controls, right? So basing on the 5 hierarchy of controls, okay. And then if it is high risk, and that's the time we really need to buy these controls because it's very high risk. It cannot be solved through signages. It cannot be solved through administrative controls. It can be solved through engineering control. We need to buy certain equipment in order to eliminate the hazards or eliminate the risk like that. Okay, so very important this risk ranking or the level low, medium, or high, so that you can adjust the type of risk controls you are going to implement, and then you are going to ask from the management. Okay, like that, because it's a part of the cycle. Okay, like that. So that's very clear. Okay, though I did not discuss it properly because I cannot show you the drawing or the graph. Okay, but that's basically like that. So in this manner, in the risk assessment, you need to understand what is risk, of course. Okay, risk is the probability of the hazards and its severity and injury of personnel, damage to equipment, and damage to the environment like that. Okay, or R is equals to likelihood L times the consequence C. Actually, that's only representation. You can put any variable there, or for example, likelihood L, put L, because other books also putting S for impact, because impact consequence are just the same meaning. Impact consequence the same meaning. Okay, so sometimes they interchange the term only. Do not be confused because it's just the same. Okay, like that. So sometimes I, right? So L times I. I is for impact, L is for likelihood. Okay, sometimes they put P also. Rest is equals to P times C because C is consequence, P is probability. But the same meaning, probability and likelihood, like this. And impact and consequence, the same meaning. So you can put any kind of letters. It depends on, on the usage. But literally, not literally, basically, that's the same meaning. Okay? That's why you need to memorize and you should understand also what you memorized. Okay? That's the clue there. Okay? Because if you keep only memorizing, you did not understand what you memorized. So if you will change that to another acronym and you will be confused already. Okay? Or change to another terms, you will be confused already because you're purely memorizing. Okay? So you have to understand words by words like that. The equivalent meaning of those words. Okay, that's why we have synonymous, antonyms, homonyms in English. Okay, like that. So that's gonna be like that. Okay, again, the risk is the probability of the hazards to cause harm and its severity and injury to personnel, damage to plant and equipment, damage to the environment, and to the interruption of the normal operation, like that. And it's meaning to say multiply. If we try to extract the basic operation, multiply, and it's okay. It's just the same way multiplying. If you put that in a formula, so meaning to say the probability of the hazards and it so times the consequence. The consequence is the damage to the equipment, the severity of injury, like that. So it's just the same. We'll just represent in the words, in the statements. Okay? Okay, just equivalent. Okay? That's for the risk assessment. Okay, now we go to the hot work permit. Oh my gosh, this is more simple, right, compared to the hot work risk assessment. Oh my gosh, time check brought to you by Powdered Alaska Milk 96.3 W Rock. Okay. For the hot work permit, we need to investigate permit because we already investigate the meaning of hot, the meaning of work, and now we investigate the meaning of permit. What is a permit? Okay. A permit is anything or a written document that allows you to do a certain task. That is generic definition of permit. Okay. Or a written document that allows consent to give you to work like that. So meaning permission, consent, allowing you to work. Without those documents, you cannot proceed the work. That's permit in a generic definition, general. So in terms of network permit in a specific manner, okay, this is a written document legally that is used to control highly hazardous and critical operations. Okay, especially releases, potential hazards, and associated risks involved in various scope of works, specifically at work. Okay, like that. So this will be the most comprehensive definition. And this permit is defined like the clear, okay, and then it is not transferable and specific duration, like this. Specific duration meaning to say there's a duration and then there's communication between the duration to be renewed, to be revalidated, blah blah blah, so and so. Okay, it's not really my permit is for 2 years, for 3 years. It's not like that. Okay, there's no such permit like it. That's why I told you it's really with specific duration. Okay, renewal or validation is part of the extension or part of the specific duration agreed with the operating authority and the performing party or the issuing authority or the permit receiver, something like that. Okay, so that's the permit. And there's a lot more for that. Okay, if you try to revise the definition, a lot will comes in. You should play also the definitions by your own. You should not also depend on your notes, in the Google, in the reference textbooks, or in your Nebush. Sometimes you will make your own definition also, as long as it is logical. Okay, it is applicable. For example, I will give you an example. Hot work permit is a document that specifies the safety precautions listed so that the potential hazards and existing hazards will be reduced and eliminated to prevent accidents and incidents. So that's my own formulation of definition that's not based on the books. Okay, I made my own definition at this moment in time on the spot. Okay, because if you really understand the context, then you can make your own definition really. Just like making an essay writing, you're joining an essay writing, right? So you can put anywhere comes from your brain as long as what you put have substance. Substance have the big meaning or relevance to the topic. Okay, for example, if your topic is drug addiction, so all your contents will be about drug addiction, and it must be relevant to the subject. It must be connected, something like that. Or if it is related, then you have to justify. Okay, as per blah blah blah, as per blah blah blah, as per blah blah blah. Okay, that's what I did in editorial writing contest when I won sixth placer in Cebu, Cebu. Okay, actually they will get only 10 placers like this. You will send to the regional competition. Okay, I was from a public school. I'm representing our school. Okay, I'm joining editorial writing competition. And we are in public school, expected that we are behind from others, right? There are private schools. Okay, like that, blah, blah, blah. And then when I joined, I didn't know what to do. Okay, and it's on the spot. Okay, what I learned is I always play around what's on my mind, and then as long as it is substantial. And then even before I read also newspapers like this, and then I put some specific data also what I memorize, okay, like this. And then I put that in the paper in my answer. I did not expect to win, okay? Actually, it's still win because I'm sixth placer, right? Okay, like that. And then we go home, and then they told me, Sotero, you won in editorial writing competition like that. Oh, really? I didn't expect that to happen. And then I was selected among others also that won also for that year, and we joined the original competition that's in Silman University, okay, in Negros. Like that. There we never won already. I enjoyed a lot. Okay, so I joined. This is only not related to the topic now, but I'm just telling you it's gonna be like that. Okay, I joined the sports writing competition and editorial writing competition. Okay, in regional competition, Region 7. Okay, because I was representing, our place, something like that. Okay, so I love English too much, that's why. And then when I go to college also, I really love writing, making an article. Thanks God, I also win first prize in easy writing competition. Also, okay. So because if God gave you the talent of that, then you have to utilize that. You have to share to anybody and develop that as much as you could because God gave that skills to you or gifts to you. Okay, like that. Do not keep to your gifts that God gave you. Share it to humanity. My gosh, like that. Okay, so that would be okay. Going back to the hot work permit. Okay, so hot work permit. There's a procedure for that. Okay, and then before obtaining the permit, then you are to be certified and trained how to fill up the permit, and you also attend the training of PTW, permit to work, so that you will understand the terminologies, the purpose of this permit, like this, where to sign, when to sign, the duration, blah blah blah, so on, so everything. Okay, especially the safety precautions in the first page. Okay, like that. It's subjective because different industries and different companies have different forms of permit to work. I'm talking only in generic or typical permit, okay? Like that, okay? Safety precautions and control measures are very important, and then the requirements, the safety requirements. Okay, usually it's reflected in the first page, including the PPE, okay, the hardware PPE, okay, like that, and safe conditions of the equipment, tools, like that, blah, blah, blah. So it should be have a checklist in the first page, like that. And then the removal of flammable and combustible materials, okay, like that, the provision of fire extinguishers, the provision of fire watcher, the isolation of the power sources. If you are trying to conduct cutting and welding in the live line process, then of course you have to isolate or de-energize the system so that there will be no sudden release of energy that can cause also accidents. That's why we have lockout and tag out, okay, or isolation. Okay, that's part of the requirement also of hot work, very important. Okay, like that, especially for doing hot tapping. Okay, that's hot work, right? Another example also of safety precautions, and you have to conduct gas testing first if you are doing to do hot work inside a confined space. Okay, it's related. Confined space and hot work are related also with each other. Okay, like that. What else? Inspection of grinding machine, the cables, the guard cover must be complete. There's no removal of the handle of the grinders, like that. Okay, this part also of the inspection, safety inspection parameters or requirements. Okay, what else? You should have to avoid bringing chemical substances, okay, in your hot work area, something like that. Okay, the gas cylinders, especially oxyacetylene gas welding, right? Oxy gas, using the torch to produce a flame, okay, oxyacetylene, okay, that kind of welding, okay, involves gas cylinders, right, mainly the oxygen gas cylinders and the acetylene gas cylinders. You have to secure that in a trolley and then chain that properly, and then if there's no chain available, you can chain that or tie that very well in a fixed structure so that it will not fall to the ground. Okay, because those gas or compressed gas are explosives also, have LEL, okay, percent. Lower explosive limits, I discussed that already, right? So it will explode, it will hit to certain objects and their contents will release. Not only that, it can also poison the personnel, okay? It can cause poison, because it can suffocate you, something like that. Okay? Especially oxygen and acetylene is reactive. It's not inert. Nitrogen is inert, but these are reactive. Okay, so it can consume oxygen in your body. Okay, so you will lose oxygen again, your brain cells will die and you cannot breathe. Okay, acetylene from oxygen of your body and then the oxygen of the blah 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 so on. So don't need to discuss because I discussed that already last week, right? Oh my gosh, and it's very basic also in chemistry, right? Okay, so you have to secure, you have to follow the gas cylinder safety requirements. Okay, now, so if you have hot work activities, all your flammable and combustible materials, if you cannot really remove, there are instances also like that situation. Okay, just um, give a safe distance of 20 feet away, 20 feet based on OSHA standards, as far as I could remember. Or you can have the fire blankets, containment of the slabs, spotters, if you're in the second level, third level, further like that. But if you're in the ground level, there's no such issue. What you have to do is to have a safe distance 30 feet away, or put warning tape or like that, or any explosion zone barricade that signals that you have that have to work critical operations there. Okay, at least there's a message that your group is doing a critical operation that might produce hazards and risks to the passersby, to other people, blah blah blah, that are not part of the particular work group or for the team, something like that. Okay, that's also common sense, my gosh. Okay, that's for the hot work permit. Okay, before issuing the hot work permit, okay, you have a lot of things to do, but that's to be discussed with the hot work procedure, not for the permit. Okay, we're going on to the hot work procedure. Where I am done with the hot work assessment and hot work permit. Now we go to the hot work procedure. This is a long or lengthy a bit, but not very long. Okay, the first planning is an activity using the right utilization of resources, manpower with the equivalent time to achieve the work goal. Okay, that's the definition of planning. Actually, there's a specific definition that I make my own. Okay, because that's really the terms that are very important. Utilization of resources, manpower with its equivalent, time like this. Okay, that's really planning. Okay, okay. So planning first. First box planning. So who will plan? Of course, the manager, and then relate to the engineer, the supervisor. Okay. Number two, second box, we have the work preparation. In the work preparation, everything must be prepared. The specific materials to carry out the hot work task, materials. Okay, the equipment, specific equipment could either be welding machine like that. Okay, or any grinding tools or any tools related to hot work. Okay, like that. So that is under work preparation. Everything that you need, any materials, any equipment that's under work preparation. Number three, what's the number three? The number three, the engineer or the supervisor will inspect the area. What is the particular area we're going to work? Of course. Okay, maybe that area is very dangerous, and then all of you will die. Okay. So you need to visit and verify the work area first before you do it. Maybe there's a lot of obstruction. There are barriers. There are limitations. You could not perform your work safely and properly. Not only safely, you cannot also work properly. Then you don't have production if you cannot work properly. Okay, very clear, right? So you visit first your work area if it is safe to work also. Now, if it's okay to work, the number four box is you need to obtain the permit. See, number four step is to obtain the permit. There's a lot. Prior to that, there are three steps first. Okay, why we need to visit the hot work area even though there's no safety officer? Because the engineer and supervisor has its safety accountability to protect their workers against harm and injury. Okay? They are the direct responsibility, not the safety personnel. Because the safety personnel is an arbitrary department, just like a court. Okay? We are a separate entity, arbitrary only. We are ensuring that the safety compliance has been attained and achieved, but it's not our direct responsibility to make your people safe. Okay? Okay. Example. I give you a simple example. Okay, I have my own family. Okay, I'm the father. I have my children. I am responsible directly with my daughter and my son. My neighbor is not responsible. Though they can help my daughter to be safe, but that is my first responsibility because they are my son and daughter. It's just like that. If you are an engineer and supervisor, you have your team. You will be questioned if somebody will die. if accident will happen in your team, not the safety first. Okay, with safety is only an arbitrary. We'll do the investigation, we'll do the report, we need to follow the safety requirements. That's why most of the engineer and supervisors will be terminated, not the safety, because that's their safety accountability based on OSHA's Act of 1970 and 2004, legal compliance under International Labor Organization applied all over the world. It's not really the safety really. In fact, the manager will be, terminated, not the safety department. Okay? You understand very clearly again, the engineer and supervisor has a direct responsibility to the people to protect them from harm so that they will not get injured and there will be no incidents and accidents that will happen. Just like a parent of their children. Okay, that's why before obtaining permit, you need to check your area first. If it is safe to work there, if you can work properly there, if there's no obstruction and there's no limitations, something like that. So number 4, you now get the permit. Okay, as I told you, the one who get the permit has have knowledge how to fill up the data information in the permit. Okay, like that the permit holder certified, or the permit receiver certified, something like that. Okay, or anybody that is certified, for example, the foreman, if there's no engineer certified and supervisor certified, then the foreman can do it. Okay, something like that. Get permit then. Write everything there. And now, in the first page, you will go to the most critical part or most important part, which is the safety requirements and the safety precautions listed there properly. And you need to implement that by heart and seriously because that could protect and save your group during investigation. Okay, and if it will become big, you will be going to the court or something like that in the in the government. Okay, for example, if all people will die because of very unsafe job, so use that as a weapon, okay, to protect your people. So you need to be serious in checking that one by one. Okay, honestly, seriously, and properly implement that one by one because that's it's written there. No need to spoon feed, okay, because it's already there, then you have to follow that one. Okay, then if they did not understand, safety can help them to secure that one. That's only like the coordination and communication. If there's a barrier, they cannot put that and have to inform the safety department, something like that, before signing the performing part or the holder signature or the receiver signature. Okay, like that. Now, the safety personnel will be informed because you get permit, right? The safety personnel and the engineer or supervisor will conduct the actual safety inspection of the work area. That's the time, okay, if those job needs approval or not. Okay, like that. So no job will be done if the safety personnel will declare serious hazards and risks in particular at work area. Or, okay, like that. So there, it will be cancelled immediately. We found very unsafe situations. Okay, that's why we have the permit to regulate and to control, right? So what's the purpose of that permit if you will not follow? Okay, like common sense. Okay, that's why it's a procedure because you have to follow. Okay, to make it organized, to make it systematized to protect the people from harm and any incidents happen. So if you're really, concerned with the lives of your work or your group, then you have to follow. Okay, like that. And then both of you will inspect now. It's okay now. It's clear now. There's no flammable materials. And so let's go direct. So both the permit receiver or the holder and the issuing party will sign the permit. Okay, meaning to say, uh, number 4 is the permit step. Okay, like that. And then number 5 is the joint site safety inspection. Okay, like that. And then the approval of the permit. Okay, after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 5, step number 6 will be now the job commencement and execution. Okay, at this time, there will be proper monitoring, regularly of the people, how they behave towards their job. Okay, if they act safely, if we do improperly their task, because that's matter also the most. Okay, because If they don't carry the job safely and properly, it can cause accidents. Or other way around, if they do it properly, then there's no quality of their output. Okay, because they do in a very disorganized manner. Okay, like blah blah blah, so and so. Okay, like that. Okay, so proper monitoring and inspection should be done by the foreman or the supervisor. As long, also the safety person will check from time to time also if they really need constantly the safety precautions be checked in the first page. So that's number 6. Work execution start. Okay, like that. Number 7. Sorry, number 7. Okay, completion of the task. On completion of the task, the foreman or supervisor will check if the area is very clear. Okay, there's no flammable materials, combustible materials, and then it's the rule of the fire watcher to check that. Okay, like all flammable and combustible materials, if there's no chance of any fire and explosion due to the flammable materials, combustible materials, or any ignition sources left during the completion of the task. You make it clear your area before going home. But then fire coming. Okay, something like that. Okay, completion. Now, before the completion, the permit must be signed by the performing party again, and then it will be submitted to the operating authority. Okay, like that, or the issuing party. Okay, if your issuing party is the safety department, then submit that there. If your issuing party is the department to department, then give it there. Okay, because there's a system also like that. Okay, it depends who are the issuing party of that particular organization or the particular company. Okay, it matters on the specific or actual environment, not the same. Okay, like that. Or it depends on the system of that particular companies who are the operating authority. Okay, something like that. To return that there. Okay, and then it will be filed and in documentation in the safety department like this, or in any operating authority department for audit purpose, something like that. Okay, safety audit purpose for example, government safety audit purpose, insurance purpose, like this, or anything, or ISO 9001 quality management system purpose, or anything. Okay, for ISO. Okay, you remember ISO? I told you before, right? International Organization for Standardization. Okay, it's an independent and international organization that develops standards to ensure safety and efficiency of the products, quality, and services. Okay, product systems and services. So that's the purpose of ISO. Okay, globally. Okay, ISO is originated in Geneva, Switzerland. My gosh, headquarters are there. It was discovered on Yoki, London in February 23, 1947. Okay, like that. Okay, you should memorize the details, and composed of 163 countries. ANSI is one of the members for that, American National Standard Institute. Okay, like that. You should know also the relevance. And they are the setting body for standards. Setting standards and composed of different representatives of all organizational, national international organization, okay, national and international organizations. Representative, for example, I am the representative, so they will go there in Geneva, Switzerland for the ISO standards, and so that that particular standard will be approved because that's organization, right? My gosh, ganun talaga. Oh, ganun talaga siya. Okay, my gosh, that's why we come up with the ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001, 2018. That's the purpose. That's global, independent. It's not public. Okay, like that. Okay, so that's a requirement for audit purposes. And now, as far as I could remember in the Bush also, you have to retain all your documents for a minimum of 5 years. You will never throw that in the trash can. The maximum retention time of all the documents based on ISO, International Organization, is only 5 years. And after that, you can throw, you can burn like that because for the purpose of retrieval purposes during important information to be retrieved, especially critical issues, sensitive issues on the documents, then you have to trace that out there also. That's why maximum time of retention, putting on the office like that in the binder, it should be 5 years maximum based in the bush. Okay, like that. So there's a standard for that also. Shelf life. Oh my gosh, shelf life talaga. Okay, that's documentation system. Okay, all will be documented after that. Okay, the permit to work system, the hot work procedure, the hot work process assessment, okay, the observations, inspection reports, the accident and incident reports, like that. Okay, by the way, I will tell you that the job hazards and analysis is just because basically have the same purpose with the risk assessment. It can be used interchangeably, but risk assessment offers the high being identified there who can be harmed and how can they be harmed. But in the job hazard analysis, there's no issue about that like that. Okay, the job hazard analysis is only like this. Okay, you select the type of job to be performed, and after that one, you will break the job into a series of sequential steps, job steps, and each job step you must identify the potential and existing hazards. Okay, and step number three, you need to have controls in each hazard that you identified and found. And okay, and then number five, record your job hazards analysis. Only 5 steps. The job hazards analysis doesn't specify the risk ranking, how high, how low, like this. It doesn't specify who are the people to be harmed, how can they be harmed. So risk assessment offers high effectivity compared to the job hazards analysis, but they have the same objective and purpose. Okay, accident prevention tool, that is proactive monitoring. You know, proactive monitoring, safety, proactive monitoring, meaning you troubleshoot, you anticipate the danger before it will happen. Okay, but incident and accident reporting is reactive safety monitoring because it happens already, and that's the time you will have your root cause analysis so that it will not happen again. So there's a difference, right? Okay, that's why reporting of near miss unsafe conditions and unsafe actions are very important. So that's proactive monitoring. Okay, initial stage, because all accidents and incidents starts with its initial stage. If you will not correct the initial stage, they will surely result into incidents and accidents because you take for granted its initial stage. Just like this, I have a wound. Example, always example so that we can clearly understand. Then my wound is very small. Okay, see? If I don't have an action to heal this wound, to treat a medicine for it, it will become big in the future. I will suffer. Okay, just like that also. The unsafe conditions, unsafe actions, and the near miss is in initial stage, then you have to correct that immediately before it will become big. Now, if it will become big, accident will be happening already. And then if my wound will become big, then probably I will undergo surgical operation and my finger will be cut. Okay? Just like the analogy or the philosophy is just like that. So while it's still in the initial stage, then we must intervene, we must rectify, we must eliminate that one so that it will not be a cause of an accident or incident, something like that. That's why really in other organizations, okay, near miss reporting is encouraged because it's really a proactive safety monitoring. Okay, and then I remember in Abu Dhabi, okay, our supervisors, safety supervisors, I will collect all their records about the near miss reports like this because I am the one assigned to do that. Okay, to collect their. I will review and collect their near miss reports, non-conformance reports, safety violation reports that they issued on site. So, okay, and I conduct meeting to them also every morning. So I think we have 20 plus 20 plus safety officers and safety supervisors. Okay, like that. Okay, I will check their documentation if it is properly done, something like this, and then it will be recorded who has the highest need. You will work in a current company is very good. There's a award system. like that. Okay, so motivation to the workers and employees. I've done that already also. Okay, 3 years in Abu Dhabi. Okay, as a safety engineer and a safety trainer. My functions are two: safety trainers and safety engineers. Oh my gosh, like that. Okay, that would be okay. It's very good to have also a safety awarding, you know, program so that to motivate the person to make them safe. Okay, okay, that's also good. If there is a safety disciplinary action program, so possibly they should have also a safety awarding program because that's part of a element of the safety program, right? If you can remember, 9 elements of a safety program: emergency and evacuation, fire prevention safety, traffic flow management, okay, PPE, management commitment, responsibility, and accountability, employees' participation and involvement to safety, okay, incident and accident reporting, okay, hard work procedure, confined space procedure, and various works, okay, procedure. Various works procedure is only one, any kind of job. So that's number 8, okay. Number 9, that's number 9. Okay, number 9 is the incentive schemes and awards and safety disciplinary action program. So that's the time the issuance of warning letter will come in to the violators and the issuance also of the non-conformance reports. Okay, like that. That's part of safety disciplinary program. But okay, I will never mention it anymore. Okay, but there are other industries who don't have the rewarding program. Okay, they eliminate that in the 9 elements of the safety program. Okay, that's why if you try to become a safety manager in the future, you should know the 9 elements of the safety program because you are the one who will create and initiate that and conceptualize that also, right? Okay, understand? Oh my gosh. Okay, very clear. So safety program composed of 9 elements, and I have to enumerate that one by one already, right? You are you listening? Just put in the places for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Because in the different types of works, permits will be there. So that's why permit is not separated there in the 9 elements of safety program. Okay? Then safety policy will come in. In the safety policy, safety guidance will come in. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? And then you have a very effective safety manual. Safety manual is a compilation of safety policy, safety procedure, safety guidelines, safety rules like that. Okay? Any questions so far? Thank you so much for listening for this live streaming. 1 hour and 52 minutes. Have to sleep now. Okay, if you think you like this video or you like this live stream, you can comment or share to anybody else, or you can, check my notification bell for some news updates of I am a singer, eternal voice, Sotero. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. God bless everybody. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh. Matutulog na ako. In fairness, I have to sleep. Bye-bye. Babush. Oh my gosh. Talaga. Talaga.